Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So, a new bill in Congress could change Social Security benefits quite dramatically. So, we will be covering that bill. Plus, a new survey finds that the majority of Americans in swing states would support the ideas around a $200 per month increase, which is also a bill in Congress right now by Bernie Sanders. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $10,000 in free stocks or $10,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Moomoo. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least $100. At that point, Moomoo will be sending you at least 7 free stocks worth all the way up to $10,000. And if you'd rather just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive those free stocks is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, and today, that is that the Supreme Court is going to begin hearing arguments in the Trump presidential immunity case. So according to Fox News, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments Thursday on whether former President Donald Trump is immune from prosecution in special counsel Jack Smith's election interference case. The High Court agreed it would review whether Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, has immunity from prosecution. Arguments at the Supreme Court are expected to begin today at 10 a.m., but the former president will not be present for the proceedings. That's because he will be in Manhattan for his criminal trial. The former president and his legal team, in requesting the Supreme Court review the issue of presidential immunity, said that if the prosecution of a president is upheld, such prosecutions will recur and become increasingly common, ushering in destructive cycles of recrimination. Criminal prosecution, with its greater stigma and more severe penalties, imposes a far greater personal vulnerability on the president than any civil penalty, Trump's lawyers wrote. The threat of future criminal prosecution by a political opposed administration will overshadow every future president's official acts, especially the most politically controversial decisions. Trump's request states that the president's political opponents will seek to influence and control his or her decisions via effective extortion or blackmail, with the threat, explicit or implicit, or indictment by a future hostile administration for acts that do not warrant any such prosecution. They go on to say that without presidential immunity, it would be impossible for a president to properly function, putting the United States of America in great and everlasting danger, Trump posted on his Truth Social last week in all capital letters. If they take away my presidential immunity, they take away crooked Joe Biden's presidential immunity as well. In another post, Trump argued that if the president does not have immunity, the opposing party during his or her term in office can extort and blackmail the president by saying that if you don't give us everything we want, we will indict you for things that you did while in office, even if everything done was totally legal and appropriate. He said that would be the end of the presidency and our country as we know it, and it's just one of the many traps there that would be for a president without presidential immunity, Trump posted, pointing to his presidential predecessors in 2020 and 2024 opponent Biden. Trump said Obama, Bush, and soon crooked Joe Biden would all be in big trouble. So leave your thoughts in comments below. Do you believe that presidents should be immune from prosecution, at least at the criminal level? Now, Trump can obviously make a case that there's a lot of people against him. The media definitely aren't his biggest fans. But at the same time, Trump definitely puts himself in a position where, he's going to be a lot more prosecutable. So in a lot of these cases where Trump could have just been quiet or, not been putting himself at such risk. I mean, if he knows the media or certain members of the media aren't his biggest fans, then he should at least try to, make himself less prosecutable by not doing things that would get himself in trouble, both with his actions physically and his words as well. But moving on to our next story here, this one is from Newsweek. There's a new bill in Congress right now where it passed would change Social Security benefits in a dramatic fashion. So, according to Newsweek, a newly proposed bill introduced by Arizona Representative Ruben Gallego, a Democrat, could change how the yearly cost of living adjustment to Social Security benefits is calculated, potentially boosting checks for retirees and other recipients. The proposed legislation, called the Boosting Benefits and COLAs Act, is an attempt to amend Title II of the Social Security Act to require the Commissioner of Social Security to use the Consumer Price Index for elderly consumers to calculate the yearly cost of living adjustment, better known as COLA, instead of the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or CPIW. Should the CPIW be higher than the CPIE, the first should be used instead of the latter. A companion bill to Gallego's Boosting Benefits for COLAs Act was also introduced in the Senate back in March by Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania, also a Democrat. If passed, the proposed legislation would apply to determinations made with respect of cost of living computation quarters ending on or after September 30th of 2024. So basically, they would be looking at both the CPIW and the CPIE. If the CPIW is higher, they would be going with the CPIW. And if the CPIE is higher, they would be going with the CPIE. So obviously, this would be a great thing if passed. I really don't see a reason for this not to be bipartisan. So hopefully, we'll have to keep an eye out on it. And if it does pass, this would take effect as soon as the next cost of living adjustment that would be taking place in 2025. And it would be announced in the middle of October. Now, also, some other news in regards to Social Security. There was a recent poll where they took people in all these swing states where it could go either Democrat or Republican, and most of them agree that the billionaire tax to bolster Social Security is something that we need to be doing. So, according to The Hill, voters in swing states are overwhelmingly supportive of taxing billionaires to support Social Security benefits. A new survey found more than 3/4, at 77% of voters across 7 key swing states, approved of the idea of raising taxes for billionaires to extend the life of Social Security, according to the Bloomberg News/Morning Consult survey published on Wednesday. Of those surveyed, 57% strongly supported raising taxes on billionaires and 20% somewhat supported the idea. Just 15% of respondents opposed the idea and 7% said they didn't know. The survey was conducted among registered voters in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Additionally, 56% of voters supported the idea of collecting a Social Security tax on wages beyond the first $168,600 per year, meaning anyone who made more than that would have to pay higher taxes as well. So basically, why is this important? Well, we have different bills out there that would amend Social Security, make the trust fund solvent for a longer period of time, because right now, come 2032 or 2033, if nothing is done, there is going to be a cut in benefits for everyone across the board by 20 to 26%. That's because there's not going to be enough money in the Social Security trust fund or flowing into the trust fund to pay out everyone 100% of the benefits at that point in time. And we have different bills out there, like by Senator Bernie Sanders, for example, in the Social Security Expansion Act, that would raise taxes on those earning above $250,000 per year. In return, if they're able to do that, not only are they able to keep the trust fund solvent for a longer period of time through like the year of 2100, but on top of that, what they're also able to do is to do things like raising benefits for everyone across the board by $200 per month. So we can see that a lot of Americans support these ideas. So now all these Americans have to do that support these ideas is to contact their state representative, contact their senator, and if these senators and representatives pass these bills through Congress, then what happens is that Social Security is going to become a stronger program. So let me know your thoughts and comments below about that. Definitely would love to read them, but that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.